Hi everyone, a very good morning to all of you, and guys, I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in this particular video we are going to take up entire analysis of Hindu newspaper. We'll take all the articles along with the background as well as way forward, and I would also like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this particular session from the Telegram channel, and a link for the Telegram is given in the description box in YouTube. So here you can see that we have given the explainer notes, and in this particular notes all the articles and their detailed background and such kind of a things have been provided. Okay, now guys, first of all let's take overview of entire newspaper so that we can understand that which. Okay guys, is voice clear now? Please confirm this particular thing. Yes, voice is clear everyone. Please tell this particular thing now. Okay. Okay, so moving on in this particular direction, guys. So here we have this article talking about the Supreme Court seeks data on donation through electoral bonds. So electoral bonds are instruments by which people can donate money to political parties. Electoral bonds can be purchased from the State Bank of India branch. You can give money through the way of check or electronic transfer, and you can get electoral bond, and those electoral bonds could be given to political parties. But these electoral bonds will not bear your name, will not bear the name of your corporate if corporate donation is being made. So it is said that through electoral bonds, anonymous funding will enter the politics, and therefore it will go against the transparency. So therefore, right now in Supreme Court, this matter is going on that whether electoral bonds are constitutional or not, whether they are constitutional or not. Now Supreme Court has reserved its verdict. It has not given the final decision. Okay, few days the Supreme Court will be coming out with final verdict, and when it will come, that we need to see. Till then you need not to require to go too much in that particular detail. Supreme Court right now has asked the data on donations, that how much money has come out of this. That is about it. Then moving on, Kerala government moves Supreme Court against governor over the pending bill. Now guys, as we talk about this particular development, if you remember, just 2 days back there was one more article that has come in the newspaper. And what was that particular article? So if I just show you, okay, so if I just show you, so 2 days back there was one more article, and here you can see the article: Tamil Nadu moves Supreme Court against Governor Ravi over delay in clearing the bill. Now 2 days back Tamil Nadu has moved to Supreme Court against the governor. Now Kerala has moved to Supreme Court against the governor. Before that, Punjab has moved to Supreme Court against the governor. So in this particular capacity, governor's role has become controversial. So therefore, we need to discuss this particular article in much more detail. So I am going to do the comprehensive coverage of this entire issue, not only from the exam, not only from that detail which has been given in this particular article, but much more comprehensively, we are going to discuss this particular article. Okay, then guys, moving on in this particular direction, then we have city section. In city section, nothing much relevant articles are there. So directly we will be moving on in this particular direction. And then we have the sports page article, the risk of fantasy, nothing much important for exam is there, metro plus page. So coming to editorial, in editorial guys, we have this article, revenge of the old West Asia. Now again guys, this article is talking about this Hamas Israeli issue that is going on, attacks that are being done by Israel, whether it is proportionate, whether it is ethical, unethical. Now guys, I have read this entire article is just going in too much of the hairline details with the internals of Israel. No need to go too much in detail in this particular article for examination. Okay, I told you guys that when this particular issue is coming, you need to see those particular articles which contain some India specific dimension. Okay, so here India specific dimension is largely not there. Then guys, moving on, here we have article, biosphere reserves are evolving as pockets of hope. We'll take this particular article for the examination. Then guys, here on side we have article, slowing momentum. So article talks about the persistent inflation remains a challenge. So guys, the article is talking about that what has been the pace of inflation. Okay, then moving on in this particular direction, scapegoating. Pakistan should not blame Afghan for refugee for its ills and evils. Now moving on in this particular direction, is the United Nations toothless in ending wars? We'll take this particular article also for the exam point of view. Then coming to text and context section, understanding worker productivity. We'll take this particular article also for the examination. Then misrepresentation of Native Americans in the Hollywood, not relevant article for examination, so no need to go in too much in detail. Antony Blinken, Lloyd Austin to visit New Delhi next week for 2+2 dialogue. So basically guys, when we talk about 2+2 dialogue, 2+2 dialogue is the dialogue that we are having with many countries. For example, we have 2+2 dialogue with Japan, we have 2+2 dialogue with USA. Now what is 2+2 dialogue? In this, there is the meeting between the Minister of External Affairs and defense ministers. They talk and they discuss the important issues. So next week, Antony Blinken and Lloyd Austin will be coming for this 2+2 dialogue. Now guys, as of now, I'll not advise you to go and track this particular article too much, but when this particular visit will happen, then after that visit, what are the important key takeaways that are coming, that you should track. Okay, then after that, India bloc not making progress, Congress more interested in state elections, says Nitish. Fine. Then we have this assembly poll page, fine, not too much important. Political news are not that much important for our examination. Then here we have this article, NCRT to introduce electoral literacy content in textbooks. So we'll see this particular article for the examination as what it is providing. Then further moving on, cooperatives are the solution for hunger, farmer woes, Favaro. As Apple state sponsored attacker, alert is investigated, clarity remains out of reach. Okay, we'll see this particular article. Now this particular article guys, what it is talking about. So basically, opposition members had made this particular allegation that they got a message from Apple which informed them that their mobile phones are being hacked, their mobile phones are being spied by the government. It is a state sponsored surveillance attack. Now in this particular capacity, what has happened? Electronics and Information Technology Minister has posted that that information by Apple on this issue seems vague and non-specific, and in this particular matter, investigation will be carried. Up till now, there is no clarity that how Apple came to know about this particular thing, whether this particular information is right or not. Okay, then moving on further, toll crosses 9,000 in the as Israeli troops advance in Gaza, occurs to be apparent in Gaza. Okay, so guys, largely the articles with respect to the Israel Gaza issue, Israel Gaza Hamas issue has been given here. Then moving to business page, on business page we have this article, CBAM will kill manufacturing in EU. We'll take this particular article for examination as what it is talking about. Then after that guys, we have largely the corporate trends etc. here. Fine, not that much important. Then we have sports page, and guys, after the sports page and last we have this science page. So today's science page, what article is contained here? Let's see. Low on salt turning the spotlight on kidney donors. Now this particular article is just providing that which person in which age can donate kidneys, what should be the health condition, what precautions are to be taken before donating the kidney, what precautions are to be taken after donating the kidney, and all such kind of a things. So guys, I have read this entire article is largely going into the medical nitty-gritties of kidney donation. Now that much relevant substance for UPSC has not been there. For example, proteinuria or protein leak is more sensitive test. These tests are done. Okay. Find kidney function, express GEGFR. Now my point is that guys, if you have seen the UPSC papers in the past, such kind of nitty gritties are not asked in the examination. Okay, so this is guys the overview, and now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in detail. Okay, as I told you, please download the synoptic notes. In this particular notes you will get all the detailed discussion that we are going to take up here. So every class we take the quotation. Today we'll take quotation from Gaylord Nelson. So Gaylord Nelson says that the ultimate test of a man's conscience may be his willingness to sacrifice something today for future generations whose words of thank will not be heard. So ultimate test of man's conscience. What is conscience? Basically, voice of conscience has been referred to as a moral compass, which shows you direction as what is right and what is wrong. So the test of true conscience or test of ethical conscience is this, that whether a person is ready to sacrifice for future generations. Now the future generations will not be there to say you thank you, but you have to sacrifice for them. And this sacrifice we have seen in the past. For example, freedom fighters, for whom they were fighting for the future generations. All the revolutionaries in the past who have demanded the justice, they have not demanded justice only for themselves, they have demanded justice even for the future generations. So today we need to take certain tough calls. For example, we need to take call with respect to carbon, reducing the carbon emission. We need to take call for sustainable development, and these calls have to be taken even though we will not get any compliment today, we will not get any appreciation today, but for future generation it has to be done. And if it is done, then it is the test of your true conscience, it is the test of your true ethicality. You can use this particular idea in GS paper number 4 ethics. GS paper number 4 ethics, we can use this particular idea. So that is all guys about the quotation, and now let's move on. Now guys, I would just like to briefly tell you about the ethics course that we are going to start from 6th November 2023. It is the batch second. Now in this particular course, we are going to take ethics in detail. All the concepts of ethics starting from unit 1 to unit number 8 will be taken. There will be the discussion from basic level to advanced level with respect to all ethical theories, concepts, philosophy, administrative ethics, applied ethics, and every class will be supplemented with the crisp handouts so that you don't run out of the notes. And one more thing I want to tell you, this is going to be a recorded lecture. This is going to be a recorded session, and you can join the course. Okay. And the link for the course is given in the description box. So 6th November we are starting, and now, as I have told you earlier also, this is the best time to ensure that you complete at least a few areas of mains examination. Now, let's start with the first article for today. So basically guys, here, first of all, we are clubbing multiple articles that have come in the past. Fine. Number one, in today's newspaper, this particular article has been published. Now, article is this: Kerala government moves Supreme Court against governor over pending bills. Second article is from 1st of November. Tamil Nadu moves Supreme Court against Governor Ravi over delay in clearing bill. Now, let me give you some little bit of a background first, and then we'll go in the details of this particular article. Okay. Just a minute, guys. Okay. So basically, what has happened in the past, multiple states, for example, Telangana, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, they all have expressed the concern that they are passing bills. And you know this particular thing, that before becoming a law, a bill has to be cleared by governor. Before becoming a law, a bill has to be cleared by governor. So we have Article 200 in the Constitution. Article 200 provides this particular thing, that when a bill will be cleared by assembly, it will go to the governor, and governor will have four options as per Article 200. What are the options that the governor is having? Let's understand this particular option. Number one, what governor can do? Governor can give the assent to that particular bill, can give approval to that bill. Bill will then be passed. Second, governor can withhold the assent. Governor will say that, okay, I will not give the approval. Governor can withhold the approval. Third, governor can send the bill back to assembly to reconsider it. If governor has some difference, it can pass that particular bill for reconsideration. And then the fourth is that governor can, if governor wants, can reserve the bill for the president also for the reconsideration. So these four options are there in article number 200 with the governor. Now these state government are saying that governor deliberately is not choosing any of these four options. What government is doing? Government is just sitting on the bill. Neither government is giving the approval to the bill, nor is denying the approval to the bill, nor sending the bill for reconsideration. Nothing is being done. And these particular state governments provide this thing, that because of this, what is happening? It is breaching the constitutional morality. By this particular thing, citizens are being denied of their welfare. How citizens are being denied for the welfare? Now, many of the bills have some welfare provisions. The bills have some welfare provisions. But as these bills are not getting passed, this welfare is not reaching to the citizens. So what has happened? These particular states, they have approached the Supreme Court. And now different times this particular thing has happened, and they are asking the Supreme Court that Supreme Court need to fix some timeline, within which governor has to give the approval, to a bill. Now let's further read Article 200 and let's understand this particular thing little bit in more detail. So basically guys, when we talk about the Article 200, it has been provided by the state governments. For example, the Kerala provides this particular thing, that Article 200 mentions this particular line, that governor needs to act as soon as possible. So Kerala government says this particular thing, that it means that there has to be a reasonable time in which governor has to act. Now guys, in this particular issue, there is one Supreme Court judgment that comes in between and it becomes relevant. Now one more thing I want to tell you guys, please listen, that all these information has not been contained in this particular article. So please download the synoptic notes, because in synoptic notes I have provided all this particular thing. Now this particular judgment, now for this I have referred to one more article which published in April 2023. So this particular judgment is Purushottam Nambudiri versus State of Kerala judgment of 1962. And in this particular judgment, Supreme Court has already ruled that within the Article 200 of the Constitution, there is no time limit within which the governor should come to a decision. No time limit. It has not been mentioned that within 6 months decision is to be taken, within 3 months decision has to be taken. No time limit is mentioned. This is something that has been provided. Now Kerala government says that this particular judgment is to be revised and this particular judgment is to be reconsidered by a 7-judge bench. And no, this is not right. There has to be some time, and that time is to be imposed on the governor. Okay, so this is the entire issue that has come out. Now just I want to give you some additional information. And guys, if you are following regularly, this development also we have seen few days back. So basically what has happened, Tamil Nadu government earlier also had done something in this particular direction. What Tamil Nadu has done? Tamil Nadu earlier has passed a resolution. Tamil Nadu Assembly has earlier passed a resolution. And in this resolution, they have requested the President of India, that President of India should issue the directions to the governor to ensure that governor functions accordance to the Constitution. Governor should clear the bill. What has happened? Tamil Nadu government has invoked the Article 355. Now, what is this Article 355? What is Article 355? Article 355 provides, now I will read this particular thing. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so basically Tamil Nadu government has invoked the Article 355. Now, what is Article 355? Article 355 provides that it shall be the duty of the union. It shall be the duty of the union government to ensure that government of every state is carried in accordance with the provisions of the constitution. It is the union government's, center government's responsibility that state government should be carried in accordance to the constitution. Now, what is Tamil Nadu's government's logic? Tamil Nadu government is saying this particular thing, that governor is not clearing the bill. And as governor is not clearing the bill, what is happening? As governor is not clearing the bill, what is happening? The government of the Kerala cannot be carried properly. So therefore, president should issue the direction to governor. Now, here guys, for additional information, I have also given you the case study of United Kingdom. So in United Kingdom, now according to DD Basu, so you might be knowing the DD Basu, constitutional expert. So DD Basu has provided this particular thing, that when we talk about the UK, in the case of UK, okay, the position of governor in India is comparable to the sovereign in England, and sovereign in England, okay, also has the power. Okay, for example, if we talk about the queen or the king or the crown in England, they have the power that what they can do, they can refuse their assent, to any particular bill, but they have not exercised this particular thing since the reign of Queen Anne. Now Queen Anne ruled between 1665 to 1714. So means that in last nearly 400 years or so, this particular power has not been used in England. Okay, and they, if they want to use, they can exercise only it on the basis of the ministerial advice. Okay, but in India, what is happening? Governor many number of times is withholding the assent. So governor needs to keep this particular thing in mind, that this, if first of all, it should be a dead letter, it should not be used, and if it has to be the case, it should be used in very rarest of the rare circumstances. We should take a lesson, we should take an inspiration from the UK in this particular direction. So guys, that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood this entire issue. And now moving to the next article. Okay, so here we have this particular article. Now the article reads, understanding worker productivity. Now what this particular article is all about, let's understand this particular article first, and then we'll go into the details of this particular article. Guys, just confirm this particular thing, that right now according to me voice is clear, yes or no? If there is any issue, please ask. Voice is clear? Okay, understanding worker productivity. So basically this particular article guys, we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 3, labor productivity, human development and related issues, Okay, now first of all guys, what has happened? So recently, founder of Infosys founder Mr. Narayan Murthy, in one of a speech, said this particular thing, that young Indians should work 70 hours per week, and they have also provided this particular thing, that when we talk about the citizens of Japan and Germany, they have been very much hardworking, and because of these hardworking citizens in the case of Japan and Germany, the economic development of these particular countries has been possible. After the Second World War, they were able to reconstruct themselves because of the hard-working citizens that they had. And it is also provided by the Mr. Narayan Murthy in his speech, that Indian workers' productivity is lowest in the world. Now, in this particular article, we will discuss, first of all, what is worker productivity. We'll discuss what is labor productivity. First of all, let's discuss it, and then some other dimensions also with respect to this we are going to discuss. So basically when we talk about worker productivity and labor productivity, these are the two different concepts. Worker productivity means mentally as well as physically how much a worker is productive, okay. What is the meaning of the word productive, that also I will take in just in a minute. But what it means by worker productivity, it simply means that mentally as well as physically how much productive a worker is. But when we talk about labor productivity, in labor productivity we don't account the mental productivity, we just account the productivity in terms of the manual activities, okay, how much labor is productive that we are seeing. For example, let's say you have 5 workers, and these 5 workers are making the pencil, they are making the pen, or they are making the pencil. Now I will just see that okay, within 1 hour they have made 10 pencils. Okay, I am not concerned about mental work that they have done, I am just concerned about the physical outcome that they have given to me. So labor productivity means the manual work that has been done, and workers productivity means mental as well as physical output of a particular worker. Okay, now basically when we talk about productivity is measured in terms of the now when we talk about the microscopic level, or when we talk about the at the microeconomic level. In microeconomic level we say productivity, it is measured as the output value per unit of labor or per unit of time. Are you getting it or not? For example, in per 1 hour, in 1 hour 10 worker, in 1 hour 10 worker, or let's say in 1 hour 1 worker, in 1 hour 1 worker, how much production that worker is doing, how much output that worker is giving in per hour, per worker, how much output, how much production is happening. On this particular basis we calculate the productivity. But when we talk about calculating productivity at national level, at a macroeconomic level for entire nation's productivity, how it is calculated? It is calculated on the basis of the change that is coming into the net domestic product. Okay, what change is coming into the NDP? I'm not talking about GDP, gross domestic product. I'm talking about NDP. So what change is coming into the NDP per worker in each sector? And per worker is assumed that is working 8 hours per day. Let's say there are 10 lakh workers. Okay, with the 10 lakh workers there was what was the domestic production, and let's say you add 5 lakh more workers, now there are 15 lakh workers. So with the addition of 5 lakh more workers, what change has come into the NDP? On the basis of this we can calculate that what is the productivity of a nation, now it has been provided that when we talk about certain type of services in which the intellectual labor is involved, calculating productivity of these particular kind of ventures is not very straightforward, it is not very much easy. Because when you are doing manual labor, you can produce in linear manner. For example, I am a manual worker and I am digging a well. In every 1 hour 2 hour there will be some progress, because every hour as I am working you can see what change is coming. But suppose I am a researcher and I'm doing some experiment, okay, or I am writing a thesis, or I am working on a particular theory. Now this cannot happen that every minute I will be coming out with some ideas. I might struck on one particular idea and it will take some days to solve one particular idea. So when we talk about calculating the productivity in the service sector, particularly where intellectual labor is required, there the value of output, where a value of output and determining the value of productivity happens to be very difficult. And therefore it is provided that basically workers productivity is seen as per their income, that is their income is used to see what is the productivity of the worker, how it works. Though it is not a very correct kind of a way to look into the productivity, but it works something like this, that the people who are earning more income, they are seemed to be more productive, so we see that in a nation, how many people are earning high incomes. More people earning high income means nation is more productive. This is a kind of a phenomena. This is a kind of a parameter that is often utilized. Now, basically, it has been provided that, see, as human capital development happens, for example, as more education will come, more training will come, people will get more skilled, people will be healthy, they will be healthy. What will happen? Within the same amount of time, they will be able to do more. Within the same amount of time, they will be able to do more. Skilled people will be able to do more within the same time, or they can do more within the less time. So basically, it has been provided that over a period, even by reducing the number of hours of work, productivity can be enhanced. So therefore, they say that Mr. Narayan Murthy's idea that by putting more hours, productivity will improve. No, that is not the right thing. That is not the right thing. Further, the article also provides this particular thing, that between the worker productivity and economic growth, is there a direct correlation in this particular thing? So basically, guys, it has been provided that usually it has been seen that while there is the increase in productivity can be brought. Just a minute. Now see this particular thing, that as the worker productivity will improve, economic growth will come, and also it is assumed that by putting more number of hours, productivity can be improved. But that does not works all the time. Here, reference of two of economists have been given, that is Chancel and Piketty. Chancel and Piketty. And Piketty is a quite renowned, both of these are the quite renowned economists. So basically, they provide this particular thing that when we see richest people, they are rich or they are becoming prosperous not because their productivity is super extraordinary. It is provided this particular thing that the prosperity of rich people is linked to their hereditary transfer of wealth which they have received from their generation, or also because they are the part of a super managerial class. What is a super managerial class? They are the part of that particular class which decide their own pay packages. For example, CEO in an organization. Now, CEO in an organization is withdrawing the salary of crores and crores of rupees. Now, you know this particular thing that the CEO will decide his salary at his own. Okay, so it is always possible for that particular CEO that he might not be working even for 2 hours, but he is withdrawing the salary of crores and crores of rupees. So basically, it has been provided that when we talk about economic prosperity, it has not always come by putting more productivity or by putting more number of hours. Either it comes because of the hereditary transfer of wealth happens, or people who are in super managerial position, they increases their salary with in an arbitrary manner often. Okay. Now, here there is one particular word that Thomas Piketty uses, that is the patrimonial capitalism is one where the wealth is being transferred from generation to generation. So this is something that has been provided. Also, Thomas Piketty says this particular thing, that today the legitimacy of capital class is questioned. Why legitimacy of capitalist class is questioned? It is because of the fact that they are not that much productive, they are not that much talented, but still they are getting so much of the money. Now, comparison of India or India's workers with the Japan and with Germany also is not correct. Also, these particular comparisons is not correct. Why? Because when we talk about the size of the both the countries, the quality of labor, okay, the nature of their technological trajectory, the type of the nature of employment, it is not same. When we talk about Japan, Germany, these countries spend a lot into the human resource development. India does not spend that much. Moreover, workers working in these particular countries are largely working into the service sector, in tech sectors, but in India large number of workers are still working in informal sector, in agriculture sector. So comparison of India with these countries is not 100% correct. Okay, so this is something that about it. Find enhancing social investment means enhancing investment in education, health, etc. Exploring domestic consumption potential. Okay, human centric assessment of development. This is something that we should focus upon. Okay, so this is, guys, all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood this particular thing. Now moving to the next article. Moving to the next article. NCRTs to introduce electoral literacy content in textbook. Now, before that, there is one doubt. Let's ask this particular, take this doubt. Many of you might also be having this similar doubt. Sir, my first attempt will be in 2025. Now I am in second year of graduation. Please tell me, is it right that firstly I should complete note making of all GS plus optional, after that revision? Fine, this year I'll complete my answer writing after. Okay. Okay, so this is a question from Sanjana. Yes, Sanjana and others also who are in the similar situation, this is a right strategy that you first focus on your GS and optional. GS and optional, and I will also advise you that side by side, you also please keep a tab on your current affairs. Keep a tab on your current affairs also, so that you have an idea that what things are going on in the surrounding. It will enhance your knowledge base. Okay, this is right. Fine. You can move in this particular direction. Now, NCRT to introduce electoral literacy content in textbooks. Okay. Now, understand this particular thing, guys. First of all, some basic information you need to keep in your mind. Guys, when we talk about the National Education Policy 2020, National Education Policy 2020 focuses on value-based education. Focuses on value-based education. Okay. And as we talk about the value-based education, fine, when we talk about the value-based education, a citizen has to be an active participant in democracy. This happens to be an important political value. Okay, participation. Participation in a democracy, participation in a democratic choices happens to be an important political value. But we know this particular thing, that many of the people don't participate in electoral choices. Many people don't vote. Many people don't participate in national issues, national discussions, national agendas. Many people don't participate in it. So therefore, in order to inculcate the political values in the citizens, we need to start working on them from their childhood. And understand this particular thing, guys, that any value, if it is to be built, then the work should be done from the childhood. Now, understand some basic thing. Just I want to tell you some basic thing. I just want to tell you. A question comes in our mind, first of all, that what is a value? What is a value? Value is a parameter on whose basis we decide what is desirable to us. What is desirable to us? For example, if you have a value of honesty, then you will speak truth. You will not take bribe. You will not give bribe. Now, not giving bribe, not taking bribe, how you are deciding it? You are deciding it on the basis of your value of honesty. So values are parameters. Fine. Again, listen very carefully. Values are parameters. Values are yardsticks on whose basis we decide what is important to us, what is not important to us. Okay. So now understand this thing, that guys, when we talk about the political values, okay, political participation, okay, debate, discussion, they happens to be the political values, but citizens often don't have them, and therefore in childhood these values are to be inculcated. And in this particular capacity, guys, what is happening? NCERT, that is National Council of Educational Research and Training, NCRT has decided that it will update the textbooks, it will update the curriculum, and in the textbooks and curriculum, electoral literacy will be added as a separate component. And NCRT will also nudge the state board also to introduce a separate component, a separate module on electoral literacy. Also, it has been provided that even in the college and universities, it will be provided that they should also customize their curriculum to add the electoral literacy. Now, in this particular capacity, guys, in the past, what has happened? Election Commission of India and Education Ministry has signed an MOU. Okay, and this particular thing will be the component or the part of Election Commission's Systematic Voters Education and Electoral Participation Program, SWEEP program. What is a SWEEP program? SWEEP program again is systematic voters education and electoral participation program. Now, as a part of this particular program, find this all these particular things are happening. Now, according to the Election Commission, it has been provided that out of 910 million electors in India, 297 million did not vote in the Lok Sabha elections in 2019. So guys, you can see that approximately one third of the people, 33% of the voters are not voting in the election, and this becomes a cause of concern. So therefore, giving the political literacy, giving the electoral literacy happens to be very much important. Now it has been provided that orientation and training of the teachers will be done so that the trainers and teachers can give the electoral literacy. Secondly, electoral literacy clubs will also be established. Electoral literacy clubs will also be established in schools and colleges, in which the different activities will be taken up, and through activities students would be taught the electoral literacy. Moreover, Election Commission of India has also taken a goal that there should be voter ID card for every student after the attaining of the age of 18. Just as a student attains the age of 18, voter ID card should be given to them. But when they will do that? Only when they have an aspiration to vote, only when they have an aspiration to participate in elections. So for that, electoral literacy is important. Okay. You can use this particular idea in your GS paper number 4 political ethics also. Now, moving on in this direction. So you guys just give me 1 minute and okay. Biosphere reserves are evolving as pockets of hope. Now, this particular article is going to be a very important article for GS paper number 3, environment ecology, environment ecology, as well as for prelims examination environment. This article is going to be very important. Now, let's start with the discussion of this particular article. So basically, guys, today is November 3rd, and November 3rd is celebrated as World Biosphere Reserve Day. World Biosphere Reserve Day. And on November 3, there is an aim that people should be given more importance of about should be given information about the biosphere, how they are important. Now, guys, when we talk about biosphere, according to UNESCO, according to UNESCO, it provides that biosphere reserve are the hidden oasis. They protect biodiversity, they reduce pollution and enhance climate resilience. Now, when we talk about biosphere reserves are the jewels, living jewels on land, coastal, and marine ecosystem. Let's understand the structure of a biosphere reserve. So basically, guys, when we talk about a biosphere reserve, in a biosphere reserve, there is a core area. There is a core area. Now, the core area is that particular reserved area in which no commercial activity, no hunting, nothing is allowed. Core area. After the core area, there will be this buffer zone. Then there will be the transitional zone. Okay. Now, let's understand the different components of biosphere reserve in a little bit more detail. So when we talk about the heart of a biosphere reserve, that is a core area, there almost all the activities are strictly protected. This particular area is the most protected, and the activities of agriculture, activities of human settlement, commercial activity, mining, industrialization, all are restricted here. Here, the natural habitat to the flora and fauna is provided. Okay, after that, there comes the buffer zone. Now, buffer zone is an area around the core area. Buffer zone is an area around the core area, and in this particular activity, only the scientific research is allowed. So, scientists for the environmental conservation can do the work here. Apart from that, nothing is allowed in this particular thing. Then after that comes the transition zone. After that comes the transition zone. Now transition zone are those areas where the communities, they can live, they are allowed to have their settlements there, and in ecologically sustainable manner they can do human activities. Means if they are even doing some agriculture, that agriculture should not threaten the should not threaten the ecology and should not threaten the environment. So again I will explain you so that you don't have any confusion. And guys, on these particular things the questions are also coming in the examination. So first of all, core area: no commercial activity is allowed, no mining is allowed, no industrialization is allowed, no agriculture is allowed. Then buffer zone. Buffer zone is area where environmentalist, ecologist, they can do their scientific work. Okay. Then there is the transition zone, this light green color. Transition zone is that particular zone where human settlement and in ecological responsible manner can be allowed. Okay. So these are the different zones of biosphere reserve. Now according to UNESCO, there are 748 biosphere reserves in the world. Across 134 countries, 748 biosphere reserves are there. 22 are the transboundary biosphere reserves. Mean these biosphere reserves are shared in the multiple countries. Okay. And these biosphere reserves impact the lives of more than 250 million people. So 250 million people are living in these humans in these particular transitional zone. And likewise, now when we talk about India, in the case of India, there are 12 biosphere reserves that are there are 12 biosphere reserves that are found in India alone. Okay. Now guys, further moving on, it has given the example of certain of the biosphere reserves. For example, Sundarban Biosphere Reserve, Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve. Here we find this particular thing: local communities, women, they are taking the conservation of environment. They have formed the self-help group. By the self-help group, they are doing their own economic environment, but in sustainable manner. They are also, see, in sustainable manner they are doing their activities by which they are getting the resources from the environment, but at the same time conservation of environment is also taking up. Now here they have given one particular case study, and guys, I will suggest you that please use these particular case studies in your examinations. For example, Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve Trust has introduced the concept of the plastic checkpoints. And for this particular thing, they have also been given the UNESCO Michael Batese Awards for Biosphere Reserve Management. Now, what is this plastic checkpoints? So basically, the communities there, they will check the cars of the tourist to see that whether to see that they don't have any plastic waste. Any plastic waste, it will be collected, will be recycled, and will be used into the reconstruction of roads. So any tourist, they should not be allowed to take the garbage within the biosphere reserves. Plastic checkpoints have been created. This is a way in which ecotourism along with the sustainability and environmental regard is happening with the help of the community support. Fine. Also, there is one more example: UNESCO, in the partnership with the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. UNESCO, in the partnership with the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, also with the partnership with the National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management, has recently concluded 10th South and Central Asian Biosphere Reserve Network meeting. That is SECUM meeting. Don't call it scam. It is not scam. It is SECUM. It is SECUM. And the theme of this particular meeting was Ridge to Reef. And it has came out with a, now they have done the knowledge transfer, knowledge exchange has been done, that how cooperation for sustenance of the environment can be done. Okay. At the same time, also UNESCO runs man and biosphere program, by which they try that how the human environment relationship can be promoted, how environment can provide ecological services to human, and how human can sustain the environment. Okay, so this is there. Okay, so guys, this is all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Is United Nation toothless in ending the wars? Okay. Now this particular article, guys, will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, international organization and their efficiency. Now, when we talk about the United Nations, in the context of United Nations, there have been many criticism that have come in the past. Even the India has provided this particular thing, that we need to promote the reformed multilateral order. Reformed multilateral order. And India even has propagated this particular thing, that United Nation as a whole is needed to be reformed. United Nation needs to be made more representative and inclusive body, which should take some concrete steps to resolve the ongoing world disputes. Now, guys, when we talk about the United Nation, in the past few years, we have seen that United Nation has become a kind of a toothless entity. Why it has become toothless entity? Let me give you certain example. For example, United Nation Convention on Law of Seas. United Nation Convention on Law of Seas. Now, it provides that what will be the exclusive economic zone of a country, what are territorial waters of a country, and it provides that the countries should keep in mind their limits of basically the limits of EEZ, limits of territorial waters should be respected. But we have example of China. China claims virtually the entire South China Sea as their own. And as China is claiming the South China Sea, they are not respecting the exclusive economic zone of Philippines and many such neighboring countries. And we have seen this particular thing, that United Nations has not been successful to impose the UN clause norms on China. Secondly, guys, if you remember, Russia Ukraine war is going on, and more than 1 year has happened, and now there is about 1.5 years have happened. But United Nation has not been able to take any step in this Russia-Ukraine war. Now, guys, recently we have seen this particular thing, that Hamas carried an attack on Israel in October 7. And after October 7, after October 7, Israeli Defense Forces, now they are bombing the Gaza Strip, and in that even civilian population have died, and one attack on hospital has also been carried. And we find this particular thing, that it is an inability of United Nations, that United Nations has not been able to resolve any of this particular dispute. It has not been able to prevent it. Now, when we talk about the United Nations, it came in existence after the World War II. And actually, the countries who were victorious in the World War II, they became the permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, and they have been given the veto power. If they disapprove, nothing can pass in UNSC, even if a one person disapproves. And it has been said that when any dispute is there, and if any action is to be taken, United Nations Security Council is not able to come at a solution. For example, as now Israel is attacking on Hamas, in UNSC, a resolution was brought which provided that attacks should be stopped immediately. What happened? USA used their veto power. Now, when we talk about the United Nations, the global order must reflect two criteria. Number one, for an effective global order, for an effective global body, there should be a convergence of views among the major powers of the day. But today we see first of all, who are the major powers today? Russia, China, USA are the major power. Okay, and Russia, China, USA are even the members of the UNSC. But rather than the convergence of views, they have a huge divergence of views. They are not similar. They are not having the same ground on any of the issue. Secondly, this UN, any multilateral body such as UN, should be able to act as a global public good, means should be able to resolve the crisis of the world. But it also is not happening. It also should have the saleability for the rest of the world. Okay, the world should be convinced that these institutes are effective, but no, they have not happening. And post Cold War, we find this particular thing, that United Nations has been unable to play any meaningful role in resolution of any of the dispute. It has emerged just as a bystander. In Russia Ukraine war, the same thing has happened. In the Hamas Israel issue, same thing has happened. Also, United Nations reforms have not come forward. For example, India multiple number of a times provide this particular thing, that United Nations Security Council needs to be expanded and more permanent members are needed to be introduced, but nothing has happened in this particular direction. So recently 128 countries voted for a, okay, This UN resolution came at two places. UN resolution in UNSC was proposed to bring a ceasefire, and then a resolution was proposed in UNGA. In UNSC, America used their veto power, but in UNGA, 128 countries voted for calling for a humanitarian pause, means bombings, attack should be stopped. But nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. So even even there is this United Nation, even there is United Nation, and they have provided this, but even there is United Nation, and United Nation has provided this particular resolution that there needs to be the pause on the war, but nothing is happening. So clearly we find this particular thing, that United Nation has become a toothless organization, it has become a toothless body. Okay, so this is, guys, all about this particular article. Fine. I hope, guys, that you have understood this particular issue. And now moving to the next article. Okay, moving to the next article. Now, CBAM, CBAM will kill CBAM will kill manufacturing in European Union. India to levy carbon tax. India to levy carbon tax. Now, guys, if you are following regularly, you might be knowing about this particular article. You might be knowing about this particular article. But if you don't have much idea, if you are beginner, you might not have much of the idea. Okay, let's discuss what is this issue from the very start. Okay, so basically, European Commission has recently signed the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism scheme. Okay, one more thing, guys, this information that we are discussing here, fine, this information that we are discussing here is not provided in the article. Okay, so therefore please download these synoptic notes from the Telegram channel and please use this particular information. Okay, so European Commission has signed the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, and European Commission is saying that this is actually a landmark tool. This is an important deal to put a fair price on the carbon emitted during the production of carbon intensive goods. Now let's understand this particular thing. Basically, guys, basically, countries of European Union. Okay, now basically what happened in European Union, there is high carbon tax. There is high carbon tax. There are certain goods, when you produce them, a lot of carbon emission happens. Let me give you example. For example, steel, aluminium, fertilizer, okay, cement, steel, aluminium, fertilizer, cements. Now these are those goods in the production of which a lot of carbon emission happens, and European Union imposes a lot of carbon tax. So therefore, guys, what has happened, European Union, rather than manufacturing these particular goods, import these goods from the countries such as India, from the countries such as China. Why? Because India and China, there is not high carbon tax. So therefore, steel that will be manufactured in India will be cheaper than the steel that will be manufactured in any of the country of the European Union. Because suppose if the manufacturing cost of steel is 100 rupees per kg, hypothetically just we are taking, then maybe 50 rupees a tax will be there. But in India, there is not that much tax. Tax might be there 5 rupees, 4 rupees. Even by giving more, even by including the transit cost, the steel imported from India will be cheaper. So therefore, over the past few years, what has happened, European Union has been importing these particular goods from the developing countries such as India and China. Now European Union says this. Now what has happened, European Union recently they have signed the European Commission, they have signed the European Green Deal. What is this European Green Deal? In the European Green Deal, they have provided that they will achieve 55% reduction in carbon emission compared to 1990 level by 2030. So whatever carbon emission they were doing in 1990, compared to that level, 55% reduction in carbon emission will be done. and European and they provide this particular thing that Europe will become a carbon neutral continent by 2050. Carbon neutral continent by 2050. This is their goal, European Green Deal. And as a part of this European Green Deal, they also has provided this particular thing that even the imported goods that are coming in Europe, okay, they should on that if a country is not imposing the carbon tax, we will impose the carbon tax. They say that we want to discourage these goods. They say that we want to discourage these goods, so therefore we will impose the carbon tax. So basically, guys, what will happen, what it means for India, it means that the car that's, let's say, steel or aluminium or cement that was being imported from India, now when they will reach the Europe, their countries will impose additional tax. And when they will impose additional tax, incentive that was there earlier to import the goods from India, that incentive will be lost. That incentive will be lost. Industries in these countries then will come out with a reason. They will come out with a logic that if same cost of manufacturing is there in India, if final product is landing at the same price, then we will manufacture in Europe only. Okay, or why to import from India? So basically what has happened, basically what is happening, this from 2026, this carbon border adjustment mechanism will be implemented. And after this, importers in the European Union, now listen this thing, what will happen? Importers in the European Union, they have to buy carbon certificates corresponding to the payable carbon price of the import. Okay. In a way, carbon tax will be imposed. Carbon tax will be imposed under the carbon pricing rules. So by this particular thing, countries such as India, China, they will be the most impacted. They will be the most impacted. According to 2021 United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, India, Brazil, South Africa would be the most impacted among the developing countries, and even China will be impacted. Now, in this particular capacity, India has provided that the CBAM will kill the manufacturing sector. Okay, India will levy the corresponding carbon tax to neutralize it. But this is not final. India is just exploring the options that what India will do. So there is just a statement that has been given. This article does not contains what finally is going to happen, but there are many options. This will kill manufacturing. This will go against the interest of India. India might explore imposing a counter tax. Okay. So this is something that is going to happen. Now, guys, understand this particular thing. Understand this particular thing that as when we talk about the irritants between any two particular countries or any two particular regions, between the India and Europe, this has become the latest irritant that has come, CBAM. So that is, guys, all about it. Okay. Now, moving on in this particular direction. Now, let's take the main practice question for today. So the question that we have for today is, recent times has led to more questions about the inability of United Nations in bringing about peace. In this context, discuss the reforms required in UN. So that is all, guys, about this particular question. And I hope that you have understood it. Please try attempting it. That is all for today. Now we'll meet tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.